Near the end of World War II, a seasoned general was asked how a nation could avoid future wars. He made a blunt reply: never lie to your own people about why you're fighting. He understood that wars do not merely consume resources, they consume trust. When the truth erodes, even victory feels hollow. That principle would be tested profoundly a generation later in a conflict that ended not with celebration, but with questions. Greetings, Patriots. I'm Perry Greene. Welcome to God in America, where faith and freedom stand shoulder to shoulder in the history of our nation. Today, we reflect on the end of the Vietnam War, its origins, its cost, and its lasting lessons. This matters in our time because the reasons leaders give for war and the reasons people accept them shape a nation's morale long after the last shot is fired. Vietnam's struggle did not begin with American involvement. For centuries, the Vietnamese people lived under foreign domination, most recently French colonial rule. After World War II, nationalist and communist movements merged under Ho Chi Minh to resist the French. When France was defeated in 1954, Vietnam was divided at the 17th parallel with communist North Vietnam and anti-communist South Vietnam. American politicians said we were there to stop the spread of communism. This was the Cold War, and the domino theory prevailed. That is, the belief that if Vietnam fell, Southeast Asia would soon follow. President Dwight D. Eisenhower framed that concern plainly, warning that you have a row of dominoes set up. You knock over the first one, and what will happen to the last one is the certainty that it will go over very quickly. Yet Vietnam was never a declared war. It grew slowly through advisors, funding, and limited deployments until it became a full-scale conflict. By the 1960s, over 500,000 American troops were in Vietnam fighting an enemy that blended into the population on terrain that favored ambush over armies. By the time Saigon fell in April 1975, more than 58,000 Americans had died, with over 300,000 wounded. Millions of Vietnamese soldiers and civilians were also killed. General William Westmoreland later admitted, "We underestimated the tenacity of the enemy." At home, the war fractured the nation. Protests erupted across college campuses and major cities. Some were principled objections, others descended into chaos. Trust in government collapsed as revelations like the Pentagon Papers confirmed what many feared, that officials had not been fully honest about progress or purpose. Senator J. William Fulbright concluded, "We have mistaken our power for wisdom and our strength for righteousness." In 1982, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was dedicated in Washington, D.C. Its design was strikingly different. There were no statues of triumph, no declarations of victory, just a black granite wall bearing the names of the fallen. As visitors see their reflections alongside those names, the memorial quietly testifies that war leaves marks on both the living and the dead. Scripture speaks directly to the moral weight of war and leadership. Proverbs 14, verse 15 warns, "The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps." Prudence, discernment, and truth are not optional virtues. They are safeguards against tragedy and tyranny. Jesus himself taught that truth is foundational to freedom. In John 8, verse 32, he said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." When truth is withheld or shaded, freedom suffers, even when intentions appear noble. Psalm 146, verse 3 reminds us, "Do not put your trust in princes, in mortal men who cannot save." Vietnam underscores the danger of placing blind trust in political assurances divorced from reality. The American founders understood these dangers well. James Madison warned, "Of all the enemies to public liberty, war is, perhaps, the most to be dreaded, because it compromises and develops the germ of every other." George Washington cautioned that the nation must avoid becoming entangled in the politics of other nations, lest wisdom give way to ambition. The difference between Vietnam and the Revolutionary War is not bravery. The American soldiers were brave in both. The difference lies in clarity. Our ancestors took up arms against the British after years of peaceful petitions, appeals, and unmistakable violations of God-given rights. They knew who they were resisting and why. Thomas Paine wrote, "The cause of America is in a great measure the cause of all mankind." Vietnam lacked that shared moral clarity. The mission was framed in abstractions, credibility, containment, geopolitical signaling, rather than direct defense of liberty. When leaders speak vaguely, the burden of confusion falls on those ordered to fight. We must remember God given liberty requires moral responsibility, truthful leadership, and an informed public. A free people must ask hard questions before war begins, not after it ends. Honoring Vietnam veterans means more than remembrance. It means learning. It means insisting on truth, wisdom, and restraint while never forgetting the cost borne by those who answered the call, even when the call itself was unclear. History warns us. Scripture grounds us. Vigilant responsibility remains ours. Well, thanks for being with us today as we honor the anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War and the memory of the young men and women who served there, many of whom paid the ultimate price for a cause their political leaders insisted upon. Until next time, let's keep the light of remembrance burning.